Today we are talking about nothing. This is all made up. I'm improvising. This is just a sound test. Anyone who's listening, you've been tricked. You shouldn't be here. It's all good. Are you? As I just gonna make sure you can pick up some audio before I go in the hallway. Okay, I'll go back out. Welcome to the circus. We're here tonight to talk about fake content during a fake presentation out here in the hallway. That's right, this is the special hallway edition of this presentation, which is fake and only for testing the audio. Testing, testing, testing. Mark is nodding yes. Okay. Mark, I was giving you so much quality improvised garbage that you just missed all these times.
Okay, so we're seeing up there, we're seeing here, got audio. Okay, so I'll leave it up there. Let's do this.
You want your stuff?
Yeah, I'll come with you. I'm gonna grab one. Okay, guys, we're gonna start in 2 minutes. If you haven't had a chance yet to get one, there are still subs. There's chips. There's pop. So come and grab them, and then we'll get started. It's gonna be fun.
That's what we're about to do, so we don't start.
Right now, it's one of the hottest skill sets. It's like one problem. I think you can advance strong foundation knowledge, and that's the big part. Learning a framework is good. I will say, like, it will might get
Can you check the power settings on mine? I have a feeling they might be set to shut off. Yeah. I reformatted it, and you might just have to go to the power settings themselves. I can't remember if I put caffeine back on or not. Okay. 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 Can you just tell me if you're, Sean? Can you just tell me if you're hearing me okay on there? I will talk like this. Can you hear me, or is it reasonable? Do you want me to get it closer, do you think? Well, just for the people that are listening, right? Because there's going to be people listening. Yep, you can do that independently. Yep. Okay. All right, people listening at home, we're about to start. Okay, guys, we're going to get this started. I think we're organized. We, just so you know, we're kind of soft launching a live stream. We did it a bit last time. This one, there's a bit more organization to it, though, because it was like scheduled and stuff. And so we'll see how that goes. Feedback is welcome. I think the quality should be a bit better than it was last time, too. So particularly the audio I've tried to work on this time. So let us know what you think. And thank you for braving the madness that is a Oilers hockey game to come out tonight. So I kind of forgot that was, I thought they were done for some reason, which, like, yeah. I feel a bit bad. Anyway, thank you for coming out, braving it, finding a place to park, and hopefully everyone got something to eat. We've got a couple things going on tonight. This is just the rough agenda. I won't read through it all because we'll go through it through the talk here. But we'd like to start off with just a little bit of news and stuff like that. Just a reminder that by attending the event, we have a code of conduct. You can read the whole thing on the website, but basically the idea is be kind with people, be patient with people, and be awesome. So, you know, just think about how you would want other people to treat you and try to do the same. And if you have questions, you can talk to myself. You can talk to Sean, who I'm volunteering to be talked to. And if you also need to do so anonymously, we do, in our code of conduct, have ways to do that if you want to just talk to us without having to identify yourself and stuff too. So we always want feedback. The other thing too is last month we started a new Let's Talk program. So basically the idea is that we know a bunch of you have come to these meetups before. There might be some new people that haven't come, maybe some people that are just kind of wanting to talk for the first time, maybe have some questions. Anyway, if you see someone with a yellow badge, they have volunteered to be one of the people that you can talk to and ask questions. We've all been a newbie and we've all been out to stuff before. So maybe just everyone with a yellow sticker, just raise your hand so people know who they can talk to. All right, awesome. Well, thank you all you yellow stickers for doing that. We definitely appreciate it. So I won't say this again, but up on there is the Wi-Fi. It's on the slide. I assume people, like most people, have internet anyway, but there is Wi-Fi here if you want it. It's pretty good now too. It's fiber, so it's a big improvement over what it was like even a few months ago. And with that, we're going to take a really quick break for me talking. We've got a lot to do tonight, so I'm not going to give us too much time to do this. But the idea is that we're here to meet people and make connections. So we're just going to take a minute to turn to the person on your left and just introduce yourself. Hi, who you are. And we just have a question for everybody. Hi, man. How's it going? I don't know. I'm like into WASM now. I'm like, I need to learn WASM apparently. So I have to learn how to say it too. I don't even know how to say it. So I'm going with WASM. We'll see. We'll see. Guys, if you haven't already, turn and say hello to the person on the other side. Can you do me a favor?
Sure.
Can you just say your name properly one more time before I introduce you?
Yuan?
Yuan?
Yes. That's good.
Yuan. Yuan.
Yuan.
Okay, Yuan. Thank you. All right, guys. Oh. Okay, I said guys. All right, sorry for saying guys there too. I've been working on this. Apparently, I need to work on it more. Okay, so hopefully everyone had a chance to say hello to the people around you. We're gonna have drinks and stuff later too. So if you did start an interesting conversation, definitely carry it on. Don't let me interrupt you too much. We're gonna break into some news. We're gonna go pretty quick because there are 3 talks tonight, and I think they'll be pretty interesting. So. In terms of the news that really jumped out at me, there was a couple things that are kind of interesting, pretty big things potentially for the web. How many people know what WASM or WASM is? Just show of hands. Okay, so people have heard about that a little bit. It's basically like an alternate pipeline for a language like JavaScript that runs in the browser. And it has a lot of kind of pluses in areas where JavaScript has weaknesses. So it's a bit faster to parse. It is easier to kind of optimize and verify for the browsers running it and stuff. And so you can use it to write games and things that need performance in the browser. And it's also a really cool target for languages like C or Rust or like I think Go now. There's a bunch of languages that are targeting it. But it's really, really, really bare bones. It's almost like the most simplest assembly that you could think of. And so one of the things that has started recently is Mozilla, along with a couple other people, I think Cloud Foundry, have gotten together to start work on something called WASI. And what WASI is it's almost like a set of standard interfaces for using WebAssembly and accessing things like files, giving it capacities to do different things and stuff like that. So the idea is that it's kind of this foundation for building APIs and stuff like that that could work with WebAssembly both in and outside of the browser. So I think you're going to see a lot of stuff coming out of that. It's very, very early days, but it's very cool. And like people, like some of the guys who built Docker originally have said that they're really excited about it and probably would have built a lot of Docker and things like that using WASM and WASI if they were starting again now. So I think that's something that is really, really early days, but I'm going to keep my eye on for sure. It's very exciting. You'll probably hear more about it from us soon. Another thing is that Node is talking about what's going to happen with the request module there. And they're looking at kind of updating the API a little bit and different ways that they could do that, probably by introducing a new API and then deprecating the request one over time. So again, that's something that's pretty new just in the last day or two, but could have a pretty big impact, especially now that Node is working more with JavaScript in the browsers and stuff like that, because they've merged the JavaScript foundation together with the Node foundation. So I'm curious to see what is actually going on there in terms of maybe building an API that works in the browser and in Node, which would be crazy and would probably take a long time because they're very different use cases and stuff. But I'm curious to see where they go. They haven't quite said yet what's going to replace it, but that something is probably coming. And the last thing too is a new API coming out of Google and the Chrome team. The actual API itself, kind of interesting. It's basically like a replacement for IndexedDB without some of the issues that IndexedDB has about being synchronous and stuff like that. So it's interesting in and of itself, but what is interesting is the way that they're proposing doing it is using something called a built-in module. And so this is something that's coming around TC39. They're the group that standardizes JavaScript and ECMAScript, whatever you prefer to call it. So they've been working on this idea of, they've been working on this idea. Thought I did something to the computer. They've been working on this idea of actually having kind of standard imports built into JavaScript that you can start including. And it would basically become, rather than having something like a DOM API or adding new objects and things like that to JavaScript, it would be something you would have to import, but it would be a standard import that would already be in the browser or in Node, things like that. So this is the first kind of proposal where they're actually running with this idea to get feedback on how that might work and what it might look like. There's lots of people that are kind of questioning why Google is starting with this particular API and going about it in this particular way. But given that they're working on it in Chromium, if it does get traction, it could pretty much be in most of the browsers very quickly, given that Edge is switching to Chromium now too. So. Any other big news this month? Were there any kind of memorable releases that people wanted to flag or point out? Okay, jobs. Who has a job that they would like to announce? Okay, we'll start with Esther.
So I work at Punchcard. We're hiring JavaScript developers.
Great. Okay, and is there a website or anything like that they should check out?
Yeah, if you go to punchcard.io.
Great. Thank you, Eston.
Yes.
Feel free to stand up if you want to. Yeah.
Yeah, my name is Steven. I work at a company called Solid. We have two positions we're hired for. We're looking for a senior developer, basically a full stack developer, probably focused more on the back end sort of thing.
Okay.
And then we're also hiring for a software tester,
Right. So, and where do people go to find out more?
The jobs are on Indeed.
Okay.
Are they on our website? It might be on our website until
Okay.
Okay. Pretty good talking to myself.
Okay. If you guys are on Slack, why don't you post some links to those, and I'll reshare them into the Meetup Slack too.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So flip side. Oh, we've got one more. Yeah. Two more. Okay.
So one of my clients, Ironside, their office is actually looking for developers. The tech stack is start from back end. Looking for software developers. Experience of there is a job posting up.
Sean, for you.
Hey, I'm Sean with Discover. I don't know the exact postings we have open, but I know we have a lot all the way from here right now. We have them on two teams as well. So we have our product development team, who actually built the Discover product, JavaScript and Rails, but experience the review part. And then also, if you're more interested in like data or integration or things like that, on the business operations team I'm on, we're also hiring as well. And that's where you have Python, data, ETL, let me know. I'm also recording stuff, so if you have questions after, let me know. All of our stuff's on discover.com/careers.
Great, awesome. Okay, anyone else with a job that they want to share? So we'll flip it around. Anyone looking for jobs? Maybe raise your hands. Then all the people. All right. Okay, so we've got two people over here you guys can converge on and talk to. All right, so we will move on. One last thing, any events that people want to share? Any like new conferences or like anything fun coming up?
April 16th.
There you go. That is an important one. April 16th.
On Monday, we're having the Python meetup as well. So if you want to come around, learn a little bit about Python.
And that's here? That's at startup?
Yeah, so one of the talks is going to be on data science, and one of the talks on mental health.
Cool. Nice. All right, anyone else before I move on? Okay. I think most people know this by now, but we're on Slack. You can find us on Slack. I think we just hit the 400 person mark, so I'm assuming most people here know. We're going to be talking to us about that today. And then last but not least, we have Brian, who's going to be talking to us about developing single page apps with Django and Webpack. So they should all be fun talks tonight. We're going to keep them all to 20 minutes with a little bit of time for questions. I'll pass you off the microphone.
Hey, thank you, Mark. I'm very appreciate that Exchange.js allow me to talk about M language in a JavaScript meetup. Such an awesome community. Today I will talk about randomness. It will be an easier talk than the last time I talked about the parser. You say random is easy. But as a JavaScript developer, random just call mass random, right? It's just function. If you're a Python developer, you have random as well. I'm a Java developer. I also have a mass random or random class. For C, you have rand. It's all function. Then Elm as a functional programming language, you should have a random function as well. But the answer is no. There's no such random function in a functional language Elm. Why? Why there's no random function in Elm? I tell you why. Because Elm function must be pure. So what is pure? What does it mean? Must be pure. Pure function means if you give the same input, you must have the same output always. And there's no side effect. So definitely random function is not pure. Because every time we call a random function, we expect different result. We expect random result from that. If every time we call that we have the same output, that's not random at all. So we have this dilemma. We want to get the random values, but in Elm, there's no such random function. How can we get random? That's the interesting question we want to solve today. Actually, the way we get random values is through called M runtime. The M runtime will generate these random numbers. How? So I need to talk about a little bit about the M architecture. Okay, oops.
Mark,
Emergency.
this corner triggers the lock screen.
Oh,
Mark.
is the password?
Yeah,
Okay.
this is his computer.
Okay, I'll just talk about that.
I moved the mouse to the corner and it locked the screen.
But you still have that in recording, right?
Yeah, it's recording.
Okay, so I can talk about this. Imagine you have the picture. You have the okay, okay, got that. So this is a big M runtime. It's written by Haskell but translated to the JavaScript. It's an engine, and every time we provide update function, then the model is like a source of truth. Every time we have update, we update the model, then we pass on the model to the view. The view will generate HTML, then pass to the M runtime to render that HTML. Show you an example, easier to demonstrate. So here, it's a very simple application. I have a button. Every time I click button, I just roll a dice. I got a random number from 1 to 6. The code, you see, code is good. I have a model. The model is just very simple, just die face. It's an integer. I have an update function. Every time I got a message about roll a dice, just focus on roll, then I generate the random. So let's move on quickly. The view is the interface. We have a text field to display the model's die face, the number of all the dice. Now we have a button called roll. This is a roll button. Whenever I click the roll button, they will generate a roll message. And this roll message will be generated by the runtime, passed to the update function. Then we have to handle that message here. Here you will see the interesting code. For random.generate with the new phase, then bracket random.int 1 to 6. So how this come? I'll tell you. Because here, we actually didn't change the model, but we send a command to the runtime. That's how it works. The update message, update function can update the model and pass to view. It can also emit the command or send a command to the M runtime to ask runtime do something. Here, we ask runtime to give me a random integer from 1 to 6. Sorry. Last code, piece of code, say random.generate. Last function to ask the runtime to give me a random integer. Why? Let's show you the signature about the functions. We have a generator type. Think about that. It's just like a parser I talked about before, or just a value, or something in the system to tell or to describe how we want to generate the random value. So here is the function of the generate. This function will get 2 input. One is another function. Second one is a generator. Then it sends a command. It will output is a command to tell the runtime, I want to do something. I want you to do something. To do what? Is to generate something for me. I describe how to generate something, and when you generate that, what kind of message I'm expecting. So that's the called high order functions. We pass the function as parameter. So we'll talk about later. So here, it's very interesting. This generate function will get first parameter is a new phase. It's a bit tricky because new phase, if you look at the code, new phase is a tag of a type message. And also, we said about that before, it's a function as well. So when you have the new phase as a function name, the parameter will be the integer. You pass any integer to that, it will give you a message object to pass to the update function. So this is a little bit tricky, but I hope after several times you will understand that very well. So it means this piece of code is just to tell the runtime, I want the integer from 1 to 6. And when you create that integers, the random numbers, you send me a message called new phase, and with an integer carry that, the payload. So it will send that to the new phase. So when I click the row, the button row, it first generate row message, then my code will ask runtime to give me a new random integer number from 1 to 6. Then the runtime will generate that and have a new message called new phase with this new random number. Then I got that, I update my model. When I update the model, it will automatically pass a model to the view function and display with the new random number. So that's the ARM architecture to handle all the one-way loop of the data and workflow. So let's talk about some building blocks. We see about how to generate integer. The integer generator is very simple. You give a range about the integer I want to get, the lower bound, upper bound. Then we will have this generator to tell the runtime, I want the integer from here, from 1 to 6. So it will, every time it will get this random integer from 1 to 6. So for float, it's the same. Also have lower bound, upper bound. So let's say I want to roll the dice to get floating point numbers. I roll that. Every time I got a floating point number from 0 to 1. So what can I do? Very simple. Nothing else to change. Just change the way we ask the runtime to generate random values. We call random.float. 0 to 1.0. So every time it will give me a random floating point number from 0 to 1. So that's easy, right? Uniform is to give a list of the values, and I want randomly pick any of that from the list. So how can we do that? Let's show example. So suppose I have a card, deck of cards, and every card suit can be diamond, club, heart, spade. Every time I want to randomly pick a card, it will be one of them. How can I do that? I have this generator called suit. It will generate, just describe how I want this generated. It's called uniform. I use uniform function to pass one of the first one, the list of the diamond, then the remaining list. The way we do that is to be type safe. Because my generator just tell the runtime, I want a suit, I want one card from any of these different suit. But problem is, if we pass just the list might be empty. So if it's empty, then what can we do? What's the meaning of I pick random item from an empty list? That's undefined. So doesn't make any sense. So we have passed at least one value to the function and all the remaining value or items as a list. So that way we guarantee every time we'll get a card with a suit. That's how we deal with in the function programming in the strongly typed functional programming. So every time I click that, I will randomly pick a card with different suit. You see, the whole application pretty much exactly the same. I just change how I handle the row message, passing a different generator. And pretty much everything else is the same. With different generator, I can have different random values. So let's talk, this is a